Hey everybody from PSN, this is Zachary Weiss here with Duquesne swimming coach Dave Sheets. Dave, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Zach.
Dave, you guys just came off at a successful A10 swim and dive meet, finishing second, another second place finish for you. Considering the trials and tribulations of this season in the pandemic, just what did you think of the overall effort and the second place finish this year?
Well, to be honest with you, my expectation, obviously our expectation every year is to try to go in to compete for a conference championship. But with things being the way they were this year, I thought, you know what, a fourth or fifth place, and I told Rick this, our sport administrator, fourth or fifth place could probably be the where we're going to finish. But going there and finishing second, and the way that the ladies stepped up every day and just they kept at it and they kept grinding, and it just shows a lot of resiliency and grit of our program that know what the expectation is and they step up to it. And I couldn't have been happier for the way the ladies swam over those 4 days.
And it was also a build, Dave. There was a
And
fourth
dove.
And Dove, sure. It was a fourth place to start. You kind of worked your way up. Was it just the competition, the refusal to let fourth place define them? Just how much of it was coach speak and how much of it was player action?
Well, a lot of it, and I told one of my assistants when he was a little frustrated on Wednesday night. I said, "Listen, you got to take it. This is a long meet. You got to take it one race at a time. We are going to continue to get better when the other teams are going to kind of stay consistent." And that's what we did. We went in there on Thursday and we swam lights out, and then Friday we swam lights out, and then Saturday the team just lit it up. And I think a lot of it had to do with a little bit of coach speak, but also a little bit of these girls just refusing to give up and understanding that there's a lot of pride on the line, and they stepped up with every race of every prelims, of every finals, of every consolation finals, and they just refused to give in.
What's it like for you, Dave, as these swimmers become swammers and you get new swimmers, just understanding the standards of having won this multiple times, having been second, third place, and that's the expectation of excellence within this program?
Well, I think that as the swimmers as the swimmers move out, they carry a tradition with them, and throughout the season, those swimmers and dovers lay down those expectations every week, every month to the newer kids, the freshmen, and it's all trickle down effect. It'll trickle down from the seniors to the juniors to the sophomores, and eventually, it takes a little bit longer to get to the freshmen, just because of they just sometimes they don't get it right away, but once they get it, they're all into Duquesne swimming and diving. And I think that's the most important thing is that we get these swimmers and divers to become all into what we do and what the expectation is. And I think that's how we've continued success. We have to kind of figure out how do we kind of get to that next level again of winning a conference championship. But the pieces are there. It's just making sure that those pieces all come together in February.
A lot of people don't realize the undertaking that is a swimming and diving season and the process that occurs with that without giving too much, because obviously there's a heartbeat. You've canceled meets, you don't want to peak too soon, and there's so many different internal and externals. Just what was it like managing this season in particular compared to others?
Well, I think that, coming off of last year competing in April, that was a long grind, for the swimmers and divers. Our divers had to drive back and forth to Youngstown State just to get on boards. So, for them, it was already, a long, long season. And then to postpone it till April, it drew it out for everybody. So this year we wanted to kind of go in with a fresher approach of, hey, listen, we've got a legitimate season coming up. The A10 has committed to a February championship. Enjoy the first part, really focus on building the team chemistry. But once we get to that point where we feel that the team chemistry is there, then we want to focus on putting the work in. And that's kind of what we did. But again, it was a long season because we still had COVID to worry about and canceling the meets and questioning whether we could do a training trip, and then getting on a training trip and getting a couple kids, in quarantine on the training trip. And So there were challenges along the way, but we were able to manage it as it came. And I think that was the most important thing to our success, is just being able to manage it as we go. Um, and the kids that were upperclassmen in the program, this year was better for them than last year. And the freshmen, they had, this might have been a little bit stricter, more strict than what they were used to, but the upperclassmen kind of guided the freshman swimmers and divers along to kind of help them with the whole process this year.
You mentioned the Florida trip, which, as we've discussed before, almost is a turning point every single year. Just managing the hoops physically, especially mentally this year, just how much did that help you guys come together, but also put things into perspective?
Well, I think that, number one, as we got closer and closer to the trip, you could start to see the numbers go up, and kids needed this trip. They needed it from a perspective of some normalcy. And when we got down there, they took advantage of being there from a work aspect, but also to, enjoying being together as a team without all the other things to worry about, the academics and, whether it's the boyfriends or the girlfriends or whatever. And they really kind of embraced what we do down there, from work to building a stronger team dynamic. So it was something that we all really needed.
Swimming and diving, when things aren't going your way, can be a pressure cooker, especially mentally, especially this time with the pandemic. Just how tough was it for you and the ladies to keep things light and to just enjoy the moment and enjoy the situation?
We have a saying in our program this year, and we really try. And one of our upperclassmen would always ask me every day when I came in, "How are you doing today?" And the answer was always the same: steady as she goes. And that's the one thing that we really tried to focus on this year, is this: steady as she goes. We will take issues as they, but let's not create issues on our own. We got really good at managing situations and really got good at managing it from day to day. And that's a credit to our coaching staff, and that's a credit to the student athletes in our program, is just being able to take the approach of steady as she goes and not get too high with the high or too low with the lows. We just wanted to manage the emotions throughout the season. And for the most part, I think we did a pretty good job of that.
Practices, you all consistently do play music. Given that that's a raconteur song, did you listen to that? Did the team listen to that? Was that a daily song? How did that transpire?
No, that was just, something that I came up with. Just how do we kind of keep these kids calm? And it's just steady as she goes. And from one of the Disney movies that my kids loved, Meet the Robinsons, keep moving forward. That was another mantra this year, is, hey, let's just keep moving forward. And that's kind of what we did.
Was there a low point this season, again, without giving too much names or specifics away, and just how did you, as a staff and as a team, overcome that?
I mean, there was definitely a low point in the season, and what we did is we support. The biggest thing that we could do was support. Support to the individual that needed it, and support to the staff, and support to the swimmers and divers. But again, the results that we had last week kind of show the resolve, and how we work together and how we support each other, and how support that we provide for each other program kind of finds our success a lot of times.
With Geneva, there's obviously a familiarity. Yes, the swimmers change. Yes, sometimes the names and the meets change, but you always know at the end of those 4 days, you're going to hear "Don't Stop Believing." And given everything this year, when you heard that song, looking back on it now, what was going through your mind when Journey's "Don't Stop Believing" aired?
Well, to be honest with you, Zach, I don't even remember if they even played that song this year.
Really?
Yeah. So we, at the end of a conference championship, you always have mixed emotions, because you've got the kids that helped get you there starting a new chapter of their lives, and then the freshmen and the sophomores that you see as the future of the program starting to step into those roles. So it's always bittersweet. You want to try to figure out how's the best way to say goodbye to the senior swimmers and divers, but embrace of the program as it continues to move forward. So I'm not sure if that answered your question or not, but that's kind of the way that I looked at this year's conference championship, and what this team has been through over the last 2 years, and all the teams that were there, and their ability to come in and put the work in and come and be successful was a testament to everybody that was on that pool deck.
We've talked in the past about the emergence of the diving program, to its installation, to earning points in A10s, to now where there's an expectation. Just could you take me through and take everybody through just the process of this diving program thus far as it continues to move forward?
Sure. I mean, it's really where our swim program was probably about 10 years ago. You got the foundation started, with Adrian and Peyton and now Sydney. And now Janine's job is to take that foundation and continue to build on it. And, we've got a heck of a diver coming in next year that's going to really, really, really give Sydney to make her better, and hopefully guide our freshman divers and our sophomore divers to continue to set the bar high. And I think as long as we continue to bring in those kind of divers that are committed to success, the diving program is going to eventually catch up to where our swimming program is. And we're not just going to be talking about runner-up finishes for the 1 meter and the 3 meter. We're going to be talking about, diving champions and coach of the year awards for Janine and divers of the year. And it's just a process that we're working through, and the work that these kids have put in to get there is something that they should be proud of, but we still have a little bit more work to do to kind of get our program to the apex of the A10.
How much do you look forward to those sleepless nights in Geneva where you're trying to figure out more points?
Zach, I learned a long time ago that just doing that and adding those points up the day before just drives me crazy, and it does keep me awake. So I leave that to my wife. She's the one that does that up in the stands and keeps all the parents informed. Over the last 6 years, the one thing I've told the kids is we're never going to chase the scoreboard, because we can't do that, because then we start looking at what other teams are doing. By looking at what other teams are doing, we lose focus on what we have to do. So for us, it's let's just keep our focus on our controllables, control what we can control, and let's not worry about chasing that scoreboard. If we swim the way we're going to swim, things will take care of themselves by the time we get to Friday and Saturday. And obviously that happened again. Now, when it gets to the last day and you're in a battle with Richmond for second place, your brain starts to turn a little bit, and you start thinking, okay, if we can do this and we can do this, then where do I think we can finish? So, usually day 1, 2, 3, I don't worry too much about the points. It's when we get to that fourth day and we're in a battle for a place, that's when I'm kind of, and I think the kids do that too. So it's still sleepless, just because championship meet and you put in, 7 months to get to this 1 4-day competition. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on when you think about relays and who's going to swim what and how are these kids going to swim. But it definitely, when you get to Saturday night and you get a chance to lay back and take a deep breath and get a good night's sleep, it's all worth it.
Results in an athletic environment can fluctuate due to a variety of factors. So to be consistent in the classroom and in the pool and in the lanes, just what does that say about not just yourselves as a staff, but as a team, that the messages you're preaching are working and successfully working?
Well, I think you just kind of answered that question, Zach, is that the consistency of the places and the consistency of the academic success shows that what we're doing within our swimming and diving team working, and the kids are buying into what we do. And I think that's why we've got the consistency. The next step is to consistently win. But, to be where we are and to consistently be in the top 3, is a testament to what you said. You know, the message that we keep preaching to the swimmers and divers, and the recruiting that we're able to do, and getting the right kids that fit for who we are and what we want to accomplish, and then, you know, coaching them and educating them and guiding them and mentoring them. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've had the consistent successes, because, you know, we don't look at our job as just uh, swimming success. We build people, and by building people, I think it all comes into play as we move throughout their careers. So they become great swimmers and great people, and it's just all part of it.
Just obviously, you've had some time to reflect now since everything ended this past Saturday. Just how thankful are you for those seniors for trusting in you and trusting in this mission, and how excited are you for this incoming freshman class?
Well, you know, the seniors were fantastic. I mean, this is the last group that is leaving that was part of a conference championship team. And, you know, their impact as freshmen was incredible. They helped us get to number 2, you know, and hopefully what they've imparted on our underclassmen is the work that it takes to win. You know, it's not easy to win a conference championship. So, you know, and they helped us, you know, get there. So looking at now as they walk out the door, you've got freshmen next year walking in the door. You know, we have to constantly preach to the incoming freshmen about, this is the expectation. This is what we expect from each and every one of you. And we'll start that process as soon as their high school seasons or club seasons are over, and really get them understanding what it means to be a Duquesne swimmer or diver. It's easy to talk about in the recruiting process, but when you really start to have real conversations about it, because they're walking in the door in a couple months, that's when it really becomes critical to us.